Hello and welcome to this video. This episode we will convert this 110 little baby fish lamp into a 12 volt plug into my camper. Got this guy from Hobby Lobby. He's on sale. I can't remember what he was, 20-30 bucks. I think he's at about 20 bucks, like that. He was cheap, but you can pretty much, they've got a bunch of different little kind of miniature lamps. The idea is to do it with any of them. So yeah, we'll pull in this wire back. We're not gonna kind of explain a little bit what we're doing here. Okay, first of all, what I need to do is, so this doesn't all move around, you're all wondering, you have to pack it away all the time. I've got these little magnets, these guys here. Oop, you can see them on there. Let's got that one. Where did he go? There he went. And then I got this round plate. This is just a air vent damper. I'm just going to cut that tab off here so it's flat. And then I'm going to just glue that to the bottom of there. And then we're going to countersink these magnets into my little wood side armrest that I've got in the camper. And that'll keep it pretty much solid enough. That'll won't slide off. We're just going to use I think it's a 1/2 inch Forstner bit, I believe. I'll double check them. I think that is a 1/2 inch Forstner bit I got to make a nice clean hole. We've got our 12 volt. This is a 1224 volt, I believe. That sits in nice and low for us. Puts out quite a bit of light, and it runs only 4 watts, so it's not going to draw a ton. And the other thing we have is heat shrink to cover your joints in your wire. That'll be for when we connect. So what we'll do, get into it here. So what we're going to do is, on this one, peel off this bottom felt if I can. Either just stuck. We will use that again, so don't try not to damage it. Then we see the guts of it. And so the idea at the end is that this, we get glued to that, put in the magnets into my, like say, the sideboard piece in my camper, and then that way it'll stick to it. That is that idea. But first of all, this wire here, we don't want to cut it all the way back. What we're doing is just gonna bring back a bit, cut it, and then on my USB, so it's pretty much the same setup as I've got on this 110 volts. It's got its own little switch. So I'll put links to the most of the stuff. I think it was all Amazon anyway. So same thing, it's got a switch. We're going to cut it at this end. Obviously this end will plug into my USB port, give me the power. So here, I'm just going to cut that off right there, and then we'll splice this open, give me the wires I need, and then we're going to tie them into this one. This one's obviously a little thicker, so we'll sort that out as we go. But I'll get this cut, stripped back, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, so one small thing I wasn't even aware of, that USB is actually 5 volt. For some reason I thought it was 12, but so it's 5 volt. So I had to change my cable out, my USB cable. So this is takes it from the 5 volt USB, boosts it to 12 volt. I got this one with the switch on because you want the light. Just cut the end here. So yeah, that was one thing I wasn't aware of. Nope, well, I will show you. I'll just give you a quick little demonstration here. So this is going to be our cable. This is 12 volt. And then we see that. So yeah, boosts it to 12 volt. So then our lamp works. So it gets us back up and running. So I've already stripped this back here. Just left about, is that 3 inches on there? So then I'll cut this one back. And then I'll solder those together. We'll use put our heat shrink on. Yeah, we'll just solder those together. This will just poke through that hole there, which almost does already. But yeah, just cut that off. Cut this piece off, thread it through that hole there. I think we'll just put a little silicone in there to hold the wire. Might have enough to tie a knot. Yeah, usually the way the factories do it is just tie a little kind of knot in there to stop it pulling through, which we can do as well. But yeah, get that out of the way. We'll cut this piece, strip our wires back. There'll only be a positive and negative in there, so it won't be like a data cable where it'll have the, it's green and the white in there as well. Should just be power only. So we'll cut that and we'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so we've got our heat shrink on those ends. We've soldered these up and this end. Now you want to poke that through the hole, our new one. And I would say probably give it almost 3 inches. So I would tie a knot in there. So when it's pulled on, it's not going to rig it. We can still fill this with some kind of, maybe a silicone or clear, something, or a black one that'll fill in there nicely, but when it's yanked on, it's not going to pull away on the joints we've just done. So now, doesn't really matter negative, positive on these, but I've just put my red on that side, so I'll put red on that one, black on that one. Then we'll slide those over and heat them up. And that's pretty much for the electrical side. That's pretty much the easiest part of the job. And then we just got to work out this plate and so on. Put that plate on, put the valve back on, put our magnets on the other one, and then we're away. Okay, that's him soldered up, heat shrink over it. So I'm just going to kind of put those together and just put some insulation tape around the bottom just to hold it. That's kind of the weakest point, just the thinner wires there. I'll just put a little bit of insulation tape. It's not to stop wires running together, but we'll just to strengthen this piece. Okay, and then that should curl up in there nicely. Time we glue that metal plate on. Everything's sitting there nicely. Let's give it a go though, to make sure it actually works. It should sit down like that. It's got that plugged into our USB there. And oh, there we go. It's good to switch the actual mains power on. Okay. It's a pretty simple thing to do. Like I say, the extra part here I'm going to do for the camper is to put this metal plate on the bottom, put the magnets into our actual side arm of the camper in the wood, magnets here, kind of think those, and then we'll be done. So we'll get to that. I think we'll get to the plate here. We'll take this part of the, like I say, it's an old damper, or not old, but it's a 4-inch damper plate. So we'll just take this part off that we don't need. We'll just grind that off. Don't really want to twist it too much. I think it'll distort the metal. We'll see if we can. Well, we'll try prying it off, see if it'll break off. Then just clean up that mess there. And then once we've done that, we can pretty much just either silicone or hot glue. I'm going to see. Might just silicone this, so then I can get it off later if I need to. And then we're onto the magnets, and we'll just put this velvet back on the bottom as well. Okay, so that came off pretty easy. Just stuck it on the vise and kind of put a flathead screwdriver in there and just kind of hammered it, popped off. A little bit of distortion, I was hammering it, but it should come out fine. The idea I think is to silicone it. We'll just use like plumber's silicone clear, like that. I'm just going to sit it flat on there, maybe just put a bit of weight on top of the lamp just to keep that sitting flat, and then we're pretty much done with that. We'll just put that piece of velvet or cloth that was on it before back over it, make it look pretty, stop it scratching everything up. Yeah, we'll just run a bit of silicone around the edge, put that metal plate on, put that bit of material back on, and then we're on to the camper part, putting those magnets in, so then it can sit there without sliding all over the place. So we got that plate on there. So yeah, we put the glue, so that's just sitting on there. I've actually put a bit of glue in there to hold that. Just put a battery on top there. Like I say, put a bit of weight, not too much. Just hold pressure down. We'll leave that overnight, and that can set up. And then we can work on putting our magnets in the camper for this to sit on, and then we're done. Okay, next morning, that's all glued on there pretty good. Obviously there, but doesn't fit how it sits. This is pretty good. So pretty much we'll might just put a little bit of silicone around the edge of this guy, just put him back on. Let's have a look. Don't think let's see now. Just gotta put, yeah, it's not going to stick just with what was left on there. We'll just put a little bit of silicone around the edge, whack that back on. That takes care of the lamp, and then we can move on to the magnets. Essentially you could just put one magnet probably in the middle. I've got 4, so I'm going to use 4, but your choice on how many you use. And that because it's pretty much going to be the position where I always hold the lamp, where I'm going to put it, so I'll just use the 4, but we'll put this back on, and then we'll get into putting the magnets in, and that'll complete the job. Okay, that's it. Back on. Looking all OEM again, just with the USB cable instead of the old 110 coming out of it. Simple conversion. Once you know what voltage the USB is, of course, but it's a good learning lesson. But like, you can get these little converters. They're all nice and compact. They can work really well. Yeah, again, I'll put all this stuff up on in the description where to get it from. So pretty much I think it was all, except for the lamp, from Hobby Lobby, the bulbs and the cable and the heat shrink came from Amazon. Effectively you could connect it with a screw block or even car connectors, spade connectors and stuff. As long as you insulate them and stuff so they don't touch each other, they would work just as well, in case you don't have the soldering iron. And that soldering iron makes it a little bit easier, cleaner. But if you don't have that, you can connect it with other connectors. But yeah, anyway, let's move on to the magnets. Okay, so onto the magnet part. So I made up a cardboard template. So I'm going to use that in the camper, just give me the points of where to drill my 4 little holes for my magnets. I just tried, so we got the Forstner bit there, 1/2 inch. This little sample hole there to make sure it fits in there okay, which it seems to. A little gap around it, but that's okay. Just use a little silicone in there. Rather opposed to, again, I was going to use the glue gun, but this using a little bit of silicone should hold it in there pretty strong. So yeah, we've got our cardboard cut out, so that'll just give us our points, 4 points. So again, depends if you just use one. If you just use one, you can drill in the middle, whatever bit you use. I'm using a 25mm or 1/2 inch. Yeah, 1/2 inch, 25mm. Forstner bit to do my 4 little guys there. And these magnets are just ones I had, so whatever you can find that you think is strong enough to hold your lamp if you're going to do it that way. But yeah, kind of see it there. Just keeps everything square using the cardboard template to mark the 4 holes that I'm going to use in the camper. So get onto that. So I'm just working out the placement of where I want to put it. So it's kind of on our daybed area, sort of side arm. There's a storage under it as well, so it's a good thing that I can just kind of pull it off the magnets if I need to and get in there and that. So I'm going to kind of, that's where I kind of want it, so I'm going to go ahead and place my template kind of under that and then mark out those points, and then we'll drill the holes with the Forstner bit and then put our magnets in and then let them set, and we are done, I think, pretty much. So you can see that's what it looks like, our 4 marks. It's just to give you something to go off, and again we just kind of plant them on the corner of them, or however you've marked it out. You can plant them on the inside. It's depending how you've made your template to work, but mine kind of go center corner like that. So we'll drill those and get those 4 in, and then we're good. Okay, that's our 4 magnets. Drilled the hole. I've just got to put some silicone in, and then we're done there. I just took it like about a mil below, you can't see it on that one, just so when I put a little bit of glue in there, squish it down, or just clean. You don't want glue all over the tops of your magnet, otherwise it's going to make them less effective. So we'll get those siliconed in, just put a little dab, just get them back out again. There you go, that's what it looks like without, but we'll put a little bit of glue at the bottom there, so a little bit of silicone, that'll hold it nicely, and there should be a little bit of room for it to squish around the edges, and that should hold it in there quite firm. And then wait for that set and see how she goes with holding it. Okay, so I left those magnets glue set for overnight, and so we're pretty much done. So that sticks on there fairly well. Like I say, you could use one magnet, like you get a bit of movement, but I mean you're tapping it. If you're on the off-road, I'm sure you're going to lose it a bit more, but again, you could use a stronger magnet, bigger magnet, but it does hold it fairly well there. That's our USB plug in there. Oh, that came out pretty good. Still yet to be seen if the lamp will stay there. I mean, we're doing mostly road travel, so I think if I was going off-road, you'd either put stronger magnet in or we just take it off and we stick it down for off-road. And that being a bit bumpier, but I think for the on-road I think we're going to be good. So no, that works out good. No, not too worried. I mean, you could tie that up a little bit if you wanted to. You could also, like for me, I could probably poke it down behind there, but I mean that works fine for me. No, nice easy little jobby. Hopefully that helps you on your project. I mean, Hobby Lobby does have some other small lamps like these guys, so you don't have to go with the fish, but yeah, we'll call that one good. Like, subscribe, and we'll catch you later.